Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Arkansas, the chairman of the full committee, Mr. Hill, is recognized for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate that. I want to say to my friend from Massachusetts that if we want to make sure that both stable coins and digital assets are well regulated, well overseen, subject to the full force of both state and federal law enforcement and supervision, that we need to come together and pass our stablecoin legislation as well as the revised version of a market structure bill that we're setting out on today with this good hearing. Appreciate both Mr. Lynch and Mr. Stiles' work. And I would also say, as it relates to meme coins, this is not some breaking news thing. The decision to say that meme coins, which don't have any utility and are just deemed collectibles by some, was Gary Gensler. And the Gary Gensler SEC approved that meme coins were not securities at the same time that Gary Gensler and the former SEC were not overseeing in any way, shape, or form how to protect Americans from FTX's offshore mischief. So the key thing about this is that we're trying to get this right on a bipartisan basis, bicameral basis here on the Hill, to have both a dollar-backed stablecoin legislation and a market structure legislation. I thank both my ranking member and chair for their work on this. One thing that we're exploring today is the SEC's terminology around digital assets that's been so inconsistent, particularly under Chairman Gensler. Just to illustrate the point, the SEC has used the word crypto tokens, crypto security tokens, crypto asset securities, digital asset securities, and digital asset securities that are investment contracts. This past February, SEC Commissioner Peirce outlined a potential taxonomy to clear up some of this confusion for the past 4 years. Her ideas were broken into 4 buckets. First, crypto assets that are just securities because they have the intrinsic characteristics of a security. Secondly, crypto assets that are offered and sold as part of an investment contract, even though the crypto asset itself isn't a security. Thirdly, tokenized securities. And finally, the 4th category she outlined were all other crypto assets, which are not securities and not transacted pursuant to a securities transaction. So this 2nd and 4th category is at the heart of where the subcommittee worked all of last Congress on FIT 21. And Ms. Smith, can you describe the distinctions between these categories to help the committee in its work?
Sure. So the first category, so would you like clarification on the 2nd and 4th or all of it?
Yeah, well, start with the 2nd and 4th on the work that we're doing, but you can comment on the balance, yeah.
So the 2nd category is for an asset that's offered and sold in an investment contract that's not a security itself. There's been a lot of work because that's where most clarity is needed. Since 2017, the SEC has been applying the Howey test, which is a 3-part test to determine whether or not a digital asset is a security. And because the actual asset is not a security, is sold in a securities transaction, there have been lots of questions under which it becomes a securities transaction. A lot of work has been in that particular area because that's where questions arise. The last category, all other crypto assets, they would include assets such as Bitcoin, an asset that's uncontroversially not a security. There's been a lot of work in that area because there's no federal regulatory authority that has authority over that particular market. So there's been questions about who should have that regulatory authority.
And so that's the work that Congress has done on where those tokens should be treated as under the purview of the SEC or the CFTC. Is that what we were trying to work on?
That's correct, sir.
And so Bitcoin is not a security, so you view it would be, if it's in its, we're trying to have a spot market for Bitcoin that would be under the CFTC's regulatory authority, is that right?
So that's the open question.
Open question, yeah. That's sort of the direction that we took with the House Agriculture Committee in the last Congress, and this will be a key question for Chairman Stile as we go forward. Mr. Ware, Polygon Labs is leveraging its use case database to showcase real-world applications of its technology. Can you highlight an example for us, and then maybe you could submit some more for the record?
Thank you for your question. So one example would be Bravado ID, which provides an opportunity for a person to work with the issuer of identification or an organization that certifies information such as maybe like a graduate school. That organization uses an API link to essentially like transact for that person's wallet through zero-knowledge proofs and show essentially and verify that that thing exists. My age is X, my birth date is
Give us some
Y.
examples so that we can show the utility in the use of blockchain, and I yield back to the chairman.
The gentleman yields back.